Welcome back, guys. So today we're going to be talking about anxiety and sensitivity to certain foods. This is something that I definitely dealt with. So if you're dealing with this, you're not alone. If you're new here, guys, please remember to subscribe before you leave the channel today. And if you have subscribed, please hit the notification bell so whenever I do put videos out, you can get updated. All right. Like this video if this is something that you have noticed within your journey. Have you become more sensitive to certain foods? And the question of the day down below in the comment section, answer this for me and for everybody else. What foods are you now more sensitive to because of anxiety? All right. So for me, this is something that I was stubborn about the first few months. And then finally I started to realize I kind of have to make some of these changes, at least for now. Maybe I can get back to some of these foods or some of these things in the future. But the way that I want you to think about this is it's a potential blessing in disguise for some of you. Now, I'm not talking about those of you that can't get any food down. That's a whole different thing. That's a whole nother video. I'm talking about things that are not necessarily good for us, things that we would consider nowadays probably for a lot of you, cheat meals and things like that, sweets, sugar, maybe caffeine for some of you, heavy carbs, fast food, things like that, some processed stuff, which can taste good, but it's not good for us. But for many of you guys, I want you to change your perception on this. And instead of just being depressed that you can't eat that crap all day, which it is crap, it is junk, I want you to think of it like this. Maybe if I never developed anxiety disorder, I would have just kept crushing the candy. I would have kept crushing the cakes, the cupcakes, the ice cream. I would have kept going to Burger King every day. I would have kept eating a big bowl of cereal and milk every morning for breakfast, or donuts, pizza, 3 or 4 times a week. I know some of you are salivating as I'm saying all these things, but the truth is, and the truth, these things are not good for us. And say we didn't develop anxiety disorder. This is why I tell people all the time, especially when I'm on the phone, you will find some blessings in disguise on the way to recovery, things that you needed to change in order to get past anxiety recovery. And also, for a lot of you, some of these things that you change are going to keep anxiety from coming back. And this could be one of them. Getting rid of the foods that are not healthy to begin with. So try to change your perception. That could at least allow you to have a better attitude about the changes you're having to make. Some of you are going to lose weight. You know what I mean? Some of you are going to get into the best shape of your life. And for a lot of you, you're going to add years to your life. Think about that. What if this keeps you from having a heart attack, at the age of 50 or 60, and it adds 10, 15, 20 years to your life because you went through this and you cut out that stuff. So for me, I was stubborn about it in the beginning. I was the guy that I had a fast metabolism. So I could eat whatever I wanted. I could eat out, eat fast food 3 meals a day. And whenever I'm talking about eating out or eating fast food, I'm talking about I was a big bag in the way of, like, for those of you that don't know what big bag means, I have 4 kids, so I have to know every new term out there that the kids use. Apparently a big bag is somebody that just eats a whole lot in a sitting or whatever. So for me, instead of just getting a burger with fries, I'd get a burger with, say I'm going to Jack in the Box, I'd get a burger with fries. I'd get 2 tacos or 4 tacos. And then I'd get either some jalapeno poppers or an egg roll with that. So I was always somebody that had to have like a combo meal, the largest combo meal, and I had to have like a couple other sides with it. And that's every time I ate. Pizza, I could eat a whole pizza by myself. I just ate a whole lot of food and I didn't have to pay the consequence weight-wise. So I wasn't gaining a lot of weight by doing that. I could basically binge eat whenever I wanted. Now, was that doing me any favors with my IBS or anything else underneath the hood or whatever? Probably not. No, that's not healthy, but I was very young and I could get away with it because of my metabolism. Now, let's fast forward. I'm having panic attacks. I'm starting to worry about my heart. Now that I'm worrying about my heart, I'm starting to become more conscious of the things that I'm eating. Excuse me. So I'm more conscious now of the things that I'm eating, and I'm starting to worry about the things that I eat. So that's something that plays a role too. I mean, I'm eating a big plate of spaghetti, for instance, and I'm like, oh, what if this thickens up my blood and I have a heart attack? I would think that things like that can happen that fast, right? What if this burger and fries, messes with my heart, or, you know, it leads to me having a heart attack. How many more times can I eat a burger and fries like this, you know? So the health anxiety definitely played a role in the anticipatory anxiety, and wondering, like, what is this going to do to me short term or very short term? So some of you develop an association with some of these foods. You could have had palpitations while you ate a certain meal, or you could have had bad heartburn, because our bodies produce more acid whenever we're anxious. So that's going to affect, you know, what you're able to eat often. We're going to produce more gas. We're going to have more IBS symptoms. So things that you could tolerate before, it's going to be hard for you to tolerate them now. So now we develop this anticipatory anxiety whenever we eat certain things that are, you know, not the healthiest things in the world. So things that, for me, that I used to be able to eat, not really have any issues, besides maybe occasional heartburn or some IBS or whatever, but it was very tolerable. It was nothing like what I had when I had anxiety. Things like fast food, so having cheeseburgers, French fries, all the fried foods and stuff that are on the side with that. Soda was another big one. A lot of sugar, the caffeine. It didn't take much caffeine for me to feel jittery and shaky. Throwing sugar on top of that, same thing. What else? Pizza. So anything that had a lot of bread in it, heavy carbs, anything that really filled me up, like, so pasta, breads, things like that. Really horrible heartburn. Palpitations. Now, get this. When you do eat certain foods, especially if you eat a big plate of food, your heart rate is naturally going to go up. Your blood pressure is going to naturally go up. Your blood sugar, of course, is going to eventually naturally go up. You are now just more hypersensitive to those things. Now you notice them more. And now whenever you notice something that's natural, you combine that with the fact that you're more anxious and you give a fearful response and you're in tune with what's going on, it can amplify it. So instead of your heart going up 10 beats per minute because you ate a big plate of spaghetti and meatballs, now it goes up 10 beats per minute. You catch on to that. You're like, what's this about? You focus in on it. And now your heartbeat's going 25, 30 beats per minute faster. And then you may go into a panic attack like I did so many times. So I actually became really afraid of eating these foods, which is not the healthiest thing, either. I want you guys to be able to do exposure with the things that you enjoy eating. But I don't want you having to eat bad food every day, if that makes sense. So if you really enjoy eating a hamburger and French fries, you know, maybe once a week, one meal out of the entire week, treat yourself to that. Have a good attitude going into it to reduce the anticipatory anxiety. Let yourself know things like, this is not going to cause me to have a heart attack because I'm eating a cheeseburger and French fries. Yes, it's natural for me to have some symptoms and some palpitations. You know, I do, after all, also have an association with it, but I am sensitive to these things. So I notice them more, but I don't want to have to never eat these things ever again. So view it as a blessing in disguise, and it's going to help you cut down on those things because those things aren't great for you. But also you can now use them as exposure and get out of it, and still enjoy cheat meals every once in a while. And you need to make sure that you're practicing good diet, overall diet, which I'll talk about in a second. And you need to make sure that you're getting exercise involved. Once you start eating better and you aren't eating these foods all the time, it's going to make you feel good about your heart. It's going to make you feel good about whatever health problem that you're fearful of, overly fearful of. It's going to make you feel more confident in that. You see what I'm saying? So again, this can be a blessing in disguise. And for some of you, you're going to lose weight. I'm not talking about the unhealthy weight loss. Again, that's a video for another day. But you're going to lose some healthy weight. You know, you're going to start turning to better foods. You're going to put years on your life. And you're just going to start to feel better. Your mind's going to get sharper. And it's going to help with this process. Another motivator, guys, 90% of your serotonin, something that helps combat anxiety and panic, is produced in your gut. 90% of it. So if we're not doing the right stuff down here, you know, we don't have a good ratio of good and bad bacteria, maybe we're not doing things like probiotics or changing our diet up, there's a good chance that we're not producing adequate amounts of serotonin to help us out there. And the brain-gut connection is strong, aside from the serotonin being produced there. Think about, for a lot of you, where do you feel anxiety, you know, the first, right? The butterflies in the stomach, that weird feeling in the pit of your stomach, that uneasiness. For some of you, it's nausea. For some of you, you get an upset stomach, okay? Because there's a strong connection there. So what we put in there is super important. But there are many days, man, I would eat something bad in those first few months especially, and then I'm sitting there like sweating, flushing, my face, I felt like my face would turn red sometimes. My heart rate would go up, my blood pressure would go up, and then I'd talk myself into a freaking panic attack, or I'd work myself into it. So eventually I had to start cutting those things out. First of all, it started with me being fearful, but eventually I started to realize, well, it's good to cut some of these things out, you know, and to not indulge as much. And again, it doesn't have to just be food. It can be obviously caffeine. Some of you are having to take a long break from that. If it's unhealthy ways of consuming caffeine, like energy drinks or soda, try to stay away from that. You know, if you come back to it, I'm all for diet sodas. Okay, I'm all for it. I think the amounts of aspartame are so small and minute that it's completely fine. So you can go back to it that way, or maybe drinking your coffee black instead of putting tons of creamer and sugar, which is also not good for you. So exposure can be done with that. Maybe pre-workouts and, you know, energy drinks or something that you're just gonna have to leave in your past, because that's a crazy amount of freaking caffeine, and a lot of that stuff has sugar and other horrible chemicals too. There are some healthier versions of energy drinks out there too now. So if you can find something like that you can do, that maybe you want to try for exposure, maybe not anything that's like super high in milligrams, but if it's, you know, maybe 100 milligrams or 150 milligrams versus 300 milligrams of caffeine drinks that you see out there, maybe try that out. Trying some sugar-free options of sweets, you know, things like ice cream and popsicles and cookies and cakes and things like that. I know it doesn't all taste exactly the same, but maybe you come across something that's cool and that you enjoy. So finding out little hacks where you can still get some of these things too, and just make them healthier than what they were. You can do the same thing with certain pastas. You can do this with sauces. You can do it with anything. I'm going to make a video coming up where I just talk about a lot of foods. It's going to be a really long video. It'll probably be a 30-minute to an hour video. And I'm just going to grab some stuff that I have at the house that, I mean, I got 4 kids and I got a wife. I don't expect them to eat exactly how I eat. So there's tons of examples in there of foods that if you have really bad anxiety, you want to stay away from those. And I'll make a whole separate video about that. And then I'll make a video or two about what I do, and about a video about, you know, certain foods that are really good for anxiety that can help you out there. So those videos will be coming up, but try to find little ways to expose yourself. It's okay to have a couple pieces of pizza a day a week, you know, or to have a burger and fries one day a week. You know, treat yourself. You don't want to have to be afraid of that forever, because then it's just like, did you really heal from anxiety if you're making this progress in all these other areas? But I'm so deathly afraid of having hamburgers now. You know, you need to, be able to test the water a little bit and, you know, use some exposure, but at the same time, again, try to see it as a blessing in disguise that you are eating healthier. And the way that I eat now, which again, I'll make another video, it's more of like a keto style way of eating. It's, you know, a lot of meats, vegetables. I don't nitpick to make it, you know, strictly keto. It's keto like lifestyle. So maybe instead of under 50 grams of carbs, maybe I'm having anywhere from 50 to 100. You see what I'm saying? So it's more like a lower carb diet. But I do cheat. I'm not kidding. Like probably at least once a week I'll cheat, because we'll go do something or we'll go eat somewhere, and I'm not about to restrict myself all the time. If I'm eating right 95% of the time, I feel good about that. You know, that's better than most people anyways. And if you stay active and you get some exercise in, I consider myself really active. I'm not a bodybuilder or anything like that, but I keep the weight off for my age. I'm 35 years old. Most of the people that I see my age are heavier than I am, and I keep myself toned up, and that's good enough for me. I enjoy that. I could always be in a little better shape. I think most of us could, but that's good enough for me, and it makes me feel better about my health, and it makes me feel okay. It makes me not have to worry about having a heart attack, or, you know, at the age of 35. So try to think of it like that. So I know I was all over the place in this video, but I guess the big bullet points, try to change your perception on it. It's going to help you in the long run, add more years to your life. It's going to help you with your anxiety. Some of you are going to lose some good, healthy weight, and you're going to be putting good things in your body, and it's going to make you feel better and think better, okay? So it's all going to help out. So change your perspective. Instead of being like, man, I can't ever eat this crap. Like, it can be a good thing. Second thing, use it as exposure. Once a week, eat something that you enjoy. Number 3, maybe change up the way that food or product is making it healthier instead of like a sugary, creamy coffee, you know what I mean, with a ton of calories and all that stuff. Maybe just start trying to adapt to just black coffee. I was able to adapt to that pretty quickly. It took me a few days and that's it. Then I got used to it. And then ever since then, whenever I would have coffee, it's just black. Just find whatever healthier version. You can have some sweeter drinks that are, you know, don't have sugar in it. So just try to figure out a way to make whatever you like to indulge in a healthier option. Okay, so do that, whether it be the foods or the beverages. Okay, but just know that you're hypersensitive to these things. You feel things so much more than other people whenever they eat these things, and that's what's happening. You also have an association. You worry about what this is going to make you feel like. That can add to it as well. If you want a lot more help with your recovery process, I include things like my routine. I talk about diet. I do have an extensive video on what not to eat and what to eat in that course, which is close to 100 videos. Check that link out down below in the description and in the first pinned comment. I'm going to read you a review real quick. Thank you again for your boot camp. I went through the course and still revisit and rewatch. I started the boot camp right after Thanksgiving. Latest update, my doctor took me off my blood pressure medication and at half a dose of all the other couple meds I'm on. Was on all these meds due only to anxiety and panic disorder. Recovery is obtainable. Thank you again. So be a part of that if you haven't. A lot of people have taken advantage of that and they're getting great results. I want you to be a part of that as well. All right. If you're interested in getting on the phone with me and doing coaching, I have my coaching email down below as well. Reach out to me. I'll send you my information and we'll see if we're a good match. And again, please subscribe, guys, and please like this video so I can get this stuff out to more people. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. All right, bye.